Hey everyone, I hope you're having a great day. Tekken 8 Season 2 is causing players a lot of distress, including me. I understand why. The developers promised more defensive options to the game to address the many scenarios that felt like you were playing a 50-50 guessing game rather than a fun, expressive fighting game. To some degree, they delivered, for example, sidestep buffering or round start buffering, but that's pretty much as far as it goes for good news for defense. They added new moves for every character, and the patch was a lot more buff heavy than nerf heavy. Some characters deserved the help they got, such as Asuka. As a Asuka player myself, it is my opinion she did deserve the buff she got. But a ton of characters who didn't need as much help got the same amount of help or more in some cases. For example, Paul now has an unblockable mid that doesn't change, that doesn't take too long to charge, which leads to checkmate scenarios if he puts you in a disadvantageous position. To me, this is the worst example of Season 2 changes, but there is more bad changes that are similar regarding a lack of counterplay, which is obviously a problem since Season 1 already had things with little to no counterplay or forced 50-50s, which is terrible game design and not what fighting games, especially Tekken, is about. Patches are supposed to fix anti-fun gameplay and enhance player expression by giving more options or toning down something that makes the game one-dimensional, such as what they've done with King, where he has homing 50-50 throws. So obviously all these things are bad and players have let their opinions be heard. The Tekken developers are responding to criticism pretty poorly, but it's hard to blame them too much since there is so much toxicity and negativity that the valid criticism and explanations of the criticism is somewhere in that wave of backlash, but it can be lost. The Tekken devs are professionals and they are paid to deal with the community they foster, and it would be a slippery slope that leads to good voices being censored if anyone was to ask people to censor themselves. It would also be a violation of their free speech, which is extremely important for various reasons you should have heard of before unless you weren't raised right. So the Tekken devs need to find the problems with their game and fix it. There's figureheads of the scenes such as Main Man Sui or other character specialists who have given their advice and opinions. So if I was a developer, I would look to see what people like that are saying, especially when they seem good faith or they don't contradict themselves. Unfortunately, some people do not offer the smartest takes, and you have to filter the good from the bad. I've given Main Man Sui as an example of someone good, so for reference, an example of someone bad would be Dracones, who said, Tekken 8 is the most fun I've been having with the series in some time. Thank you guys for the work. Alright, this sounds good. Oops. Page got stuck on me. Right. This sounds good and nice. It even got a positive response from Michael Murray, who was happy with that feedback. The problem is that Dracones, despite saying what he said on the day of the update, did not play the update. In fact, when people checked his profile, they found that the last time he played was the 12th of January. So yeah, moral of the story, you shouldn't regard every positive opinion in high regard just because it is positive. You certainly don't do that for negative opinions, as seen when you blocked misplaced stuff for her opinions. Okay. So now that I gave my opinion on what the devs should do, what should the community do? I have one request. If you left a negative review on Tekken 8, please change it once you are happy with the game again. As you know, review bombing hurts sales, but if Tekken 8 becomes non-profitable and not profitable anymore, the game we love will die. Resources will not be spent on further developing the game, and we will be stuck playing a game that we aren't happy with. Look at MK1. We should be critical and helpful, but not bash the game so far into the ground that it loses any good reputation and people stop buying the game or the DLC. We need to at least give the devs a chance to redeem themselves. If you're planning on review bombing, I would suggest that you don't feel obligated to do so, because the backlash Tekken has gotten for Season 2 is strong enough as is. They have to address it. So let's wait and see them address it before we attack further. Alright, that's all I have to say for now. Hope you have a good one, guys.
Alright, that should be all the footage I need.